Okay, everyone, we are on to our fifth and final lead for this assignment. This one is called a flashback or a flash forward lead. Many of you probably have heard of the word flashback or a flash forward. I will say that this is probably the most difficult one to write, and that's why I've saved it for last. But it can also be super effective if done correctly. And I think you can have a lot of, you can really use your imagination for it. And so some of you might really enjoy it. All right, the flashback or flash forward lead. It says this lead takes the reader back to a specific event in the past that relates to the narrative that you're currently telling, or it can take the reader to a part in the story that will happen. Just make sure that you can hint at what might happen, but you don't want to give it away in the lead, because what's the point of reading your story if you give away what's going to happen in the story? All right, so let's look at my example. Let's see here. So I am going to use a flash. Let's see here. Okay, so the current one is I remember the time when I almost won the championship game for my team. The key word is almost, because we didn't end up winning. I was hoping that today's game would have different results. My team was mostly made up of friends that I went to school with, and my dad was the coach. All right, so this one is, and this was a very important game. Okay, so this one, he is flashing back to another game that was similar to the one that they're going to play today. And he remembers that the results of that game was not very positive. So he's hoping that today is going to be better. And then you could just start your story. All right, so this is how I recreated that lead. I could feel the sweat pouring off my body as I watched the seconds tick off the clock. It was as if I was dribbling in slow motion, weaving in and out of the defenders and heading towards the hoop. As the buzzer sounded, I felt the ball roll off my fingertips, and I watched anxiously as it spun around the rim for what seemed like an eternity. Was it going in, or was it going out? Would I win the game or lose it? So I used a flash, I'm flash forwarding in the story here. So I start it right off with the time in the story that you know that my story is going to be about, but I'm not giving it away as to what is going, the outcome of the game. So I'm going to leave you sitting there thinking about it. And but I decided to continue on so that you could see how I would then start my story. So I started as a new paragraph because you are letting your audience know that it's a new time and it's coming back to the current story that you're telling. The day had finally come. My team was heading into the championships undefeated. My dad, who also happens to be the coach, would always say, hard work pays off. And this was the first time that I was truly understanding what that meant. The team was made up of close friends who had played together for years. The first thing I noticed when I walked into the gym was the bleachers, filled to capacity. I imagined them sagging in the middle, creaking and groaning from all of the weight. I felt the first trickle of sweat roll down my back. I thought how easy it would be to turn around and walk away. My eyes darted back to the door that I had just walked through. Brady! I heard my name coming from somewhere in the sea of bodies surrounding me. I searched until I found my best friend and co-defender, Jacob, waving and motioning me to join him. Too late, I thought. I've been spotted. So I kind of bring you, this could all be the intro to your story. Again, it doesn't just have to be a small paragraph. So I started with a flash forward here, imagining that moment in the game that we know is going to take place. And then I take you into the story here. And it's kind of, I consider it, I'm hooking you into wanting to read it, because now you know that my character, I am extremely nervous. And I think a lot of people can relate to that if you're coming into a game like this, that you think is super important, that adding in some elaborating and bringing you into my mindset that I'm having, or the character is having, I should say, and you're telling more emotions and thoughts of the character. So this would be an example of, this one would be the flashback, and then this would be the flash forward. And again, this one may say boring, and I just don't think it's a great one, is all, but you can do flashbacks that are really exciting. This one just happens to be, when I was thinking of it in my mind, that my flash forward would be a better idea to me. So that's why I did that one. All right, so now you're going to click down here and you are going to write a flashback or a flash forward for your story. And it might take you a few minutes to think of something. You can choose either one. And then when you are finished with this, you are going to go into your actual and final assignment, which is look back over these 5 examples that you've written. You're going to choose one that you think is like really, really good. And you're going to take your story that you've been writing and you're going to insert it into that story. You might have to play around a little bit with it at the beginning to make it work. Maybe change, and add another paragraph or something like that after it, that type of thing to make it flow into your story. But that is your final assignment for today. So write your flash forward or flash back lead, then pick something from here and add it into your current personal narrative. Again, you may not decide to change, and I understand that, but I do think many of you will. All right. Thank you so much. Good luck and happy writing.